Hello viewers, welcome to Sahara TV. With me here is the Council of South Africa. His name is, I'm going to try say his second name. I know he's going to beat me up for it, but yes. George Monyemangene.
You actually had it perfect.
All right, thank you very much. So we're going to talk about Mandela Day. We know it's the 18th of July, and since 2009, it's been commemorated every other year. So we just want you to give us a brief history of the day. Tell us how it came about for our viewers who know about it, but really maybe they don't know how it came about.
Okay, thank you very much, and good day to your viewers. Well, the Nelson Mandela Day is actually a UN-sanctioned or UN-declared day. This is a day where everyone is normally requested to donate about 67 minutes of their times, to celebrate the life and legacy of Nelson Mandela. And on this particular day, people normally engage in activities that leads towards the betterment of people, in a global sense. The 67 minutes really emanate from the fact that Nelson Mandela, Madiba, as we very much love that to call him that, he is, he's spent about 67 years, dedicated 67 years of his life towards public service.
Yeah.
And that's where it basically emanates from.
All right. And since it came about, do you feel like that it has been successful in trying to get to the reason why it was made?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, what we've noticed is that over the past couple of years, people have become more and more aware of the Nelson Mandela Day. And we've also seen an increase in the number of events that actually take place, where people come together to try and give some form of, time towards community development and public service of any form as a way of contributing towards the betterment of communities in general.
Yeah.
And we believe that that has been wonderful in its own way. For instance, this year, together with our permanent mission to the United Nations and the United Nations, there will be an informal session at the General Assembly, which will be dedicated towards celebrating the Nelson Mandela Day.
Wow.
On the 18th.
That's great. So
Yeah.
apart from that, what other activities have you, being here in New York, and I know you're not going to be in South Africa, what activities do you have planned for the day?
Well, we have quite a few activities that have been planned jointly, as I said, with our colleagues from the permanent mission and also by the United Nations. We have an informal session at the General Assembly between 10 and 1 o'clock. And during that particular period, a few of our colleagues will also be doing their 67 minutes, actually even more like 2 hours at a few houses for the homeless. Some will be serving lunch, some will be cleaning, some will be doing whatever they can do to contribute on that day. And again, later in the afternoon, there will be other activities to try and assist wherever we can assist. I will actually later on just rattle through a list of some of the key events that are taking place on that particular day.
Yeah, that sounds great. So when we celebrate Mandela Day, it seems to me that it's definitely a day to show acts of kindness in whatever way that you can, especially with the 67 minutes. But do you feel like in this day and age, there was Mandela, there's Mother Teresa. Do we have any Mandelas of our day?
Well, I don't know. Well, I guess we are very fortunate. Maybe if I can start by there, that we are actually celebrating an icon and a person who's revered throughout the world, and he's still alive. So we're really very lucky in that sense. And I'm sure people will always come who will mean good towards the development of our people and our country. Yeah. Mandela obviously occupies a very important place, both from a South African perspective, as our former president, as the person who drove reconciliation among South Africans after a very difficult period of having gone through, the system of apartheid and oppression. And on top of that, he is also seen globally as an icon through the type of messages that he has preached, and human kindness and other areas, his dedication and belief, for instance, in education, particularly for the children, through some of the very huge philanthropic activities that, the Nelson Mandela Foundation, for instance, has undertaken to a large extent.
Yeah. So he leaves a legacy to be followed, and we are hoping that as the generations come, even after we want the generation to come really to know that there was Mandela and these are the acts that they're doing. So do you feel that in this day and age, as we talk about the youth, we know that South Africa celebrated the Youth Day just a few weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that the youth have come to, even as they're growing up, have they taken it as part of it's like their culture to do good and be able to leave a legacy themselves, the fact that they came and found it? Do you think it has had maybe an influence on them?
Well, I think it has had a profound influence on them. That's precisely why, as South Africa, we actually normally dedicate, the month of June is actually dedicated as a youth month. And on top of that, on the 16th of June, that is our National Youth Day. As you know, this year it was the 36th anniversary of the Soweto uprisings, and when students took the might, of the evil apartheid system at that particular time, and went on to contribute quite immensely towards the emancipation of our people. We also take cognizance of the fact that the youth of today are the leaders of the future. So you have to really make sure that they develop in appropriate circumstances, that in a way they are educated, and that's the only way that you can actually secure a safe and a good future for anybody.
True. Speaking of which, South Africa has been said to be a rainbow nation.
Yes.
And I just want to ask you, do you feel that this is actually true in this day and age in terms of resources? Are there equal resources to all the people? Because we have so many immigrants coming into South Africa. We have the Zimbabweans, we have the people from the south. Do you feel that this is actually, is it what really is?
Well, I think to a large extent we are a rainbow nation which faces challenges like any other country.
True.
And what I can tell you is that our government has always been prepared and continues to engage and deal with any challenges that we face for the betterment of our people and for the upliftment of South Africans and those that we share partnerships with in general. So I think for us that remains the key message.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So as we celebrate this year's Mandela Day, what here in New York, we know you guys have enough South Africans here. They are all over the U.S. Are there any activities just apart from the ones that are being planned by the embassy? Are there any other activities that they have invited you to, or anything that you know of that they are doing?
Well, the Nelson Mandela International Day, it is generally referred to, basically covers, the recognition of Nelson Mandela's contributions to democracy, to racial justice, reconciliation, and his service to humanity. And this day is the day that the United Nations General Assembly declared as the Nelson Mandela International Day in recognition of his contributions.
So it's international. We are talking of not only South Africa, not Africa, we are doing it internationally.
All over the world.
All over the world.
This is a day when people are globally, expected to contribute their 67 minutes, days to the community.
Yeah.
Yes.
True. All right. So what other activities do you have planned as the consulate and also as the South African
Just in general.
community? Yes.
Well, we have partnered with, the United Nations to hold the informal meeting of the United Nations General Assembly in celebration of the Nelson Mandela Day.
All right.
And there will also be a performance by the University of Cape Town School Opera. The UN diplomatic staff and other volunteers will also be at the Bowery Mission Soup Kitchen, to serve and help clean and do whatever they can during that particular period.
Right.
But there are other additional activities as well that have been set. Maybe just to give you an example, on the same day, the southeast at the southeast corner of 42nd and 2nd Avenue, which is named after Nelson and Winnie Mandela, there will be people who will be giving out flyers in recognition of the fight against apartheid in South Africa, and volunteers holding out postcards to ensure that we raise awareness for the Nelson Mandela Day and the Take Action to Inspire Change campaign, which is associated with this particular day.
Yeah. Yes. So when we were looking at the National Youth Day on June 16th, we wanted to seeing that you're coming from an era of apartheid, there is emancipation from that. And then a few years back, there was the issue of xenophobia. So do you feel that, coming from an apartheid era, then there's xenophobia? What do you really feel about this?
Well, of course, we took it very seriously at that particular time as a government, and I think that's why our government has actually gone on to ensure that what happened never happens again, and that there's a lot of education, because we know that we share a lot with our brothers and sisters on the continent and beyond, and we are part of the African Union and the African continent, and we've got very positive engagements and positive relationships with all the countries on the continent. Yeah. So that is just one particular happening that has been addressed, and we continue to address it. These are ongoing issues that need to be dealt with over time.
Yeah. Okay, what about just to mention a bit on the youth and unemployment in South Africa? Yes. Looking at still, we're just fresh from the Youth Day and the month that is dedicated. What do you feel, is there hope, is there a solution? Because it's an issue that has been upcoming also.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Well, we believe that there is a lot of hope, and not only is there a lot of hope. In fact, if you look at the programs and the theme, in fact, for Youth Month in South Africa, it was really dedicated, towards ensuring that we garner the type of economic development, that will make sure that we build our infrastructure and we address issues that may be related to unemployment. How do we address those? By surely ensuring that our youth are skilled and they're educated, and that in the process we create an environment where they can be absorbed, into the economy without much difficulty. We are aware and we acknowledge the fact that maybe sometimes the unemployment figures may not be at the acceptable levels in terms of youth unemployment, but our government has set very, very focused programs to try and address this issue, both for the short, intermediate, and long term. And we believe that we're beginning to see some results coming to the fore in that respect.
Yeah, that's very good. So just your final message as we celebrate Mandela Day, having South Africa at the forefront, because, it's originally South African. What's your message to people out there? What's your message to the youth as well? And especially in terms of leaving a Mandela legacy. We are trying to think, okay, I want to be the Mandela of our time, but really, I think you should give us a message of,
Well, we just want to say that, firstly, we don't view it as a South African Day. Well, it's a UN declared, international day, the Nelson Mandela Day. So this is something that the world should indeed celebrate, and we just want to once again, remind people that, the slogan for this day is for people to take action and inspire change through good deeds and through the betterment of our communities and the world in general.
All right. Thank you very much, Council. We appreciate, and we are hoping that we can make a difference on this Mandela Day.